One of the first videos I ever produced on this channel was a breakdown of Dariush prior to his incredible performance against Tony Ferguson. As I have matured as a talent scout, I want to take a look back at the specifics of his grappling game with the eyes of a more seasoned analyst. MMA grappling arsenals have trended in a binary direction. Wrestlers with jiu-jitsu skills, jiu-jitsu players who can wrestle. Few fighters can execute on a balanced approach at near the level Beneil does. Simply, Dariush is a better wrestler than jiu-jitsu focused grapplers, and a better jiu-jitsu player than the average wrestling focused fighter. But what specifically does he do? Therein lies the hard part. The best example of Dariush's technical wrestling superiority over jiu-jitsu focused grapplers comes in his 3-round unanimous decision victory over Thiago Moises. Now, Thiago Moises is known for having a specific technical flaw that has been taken advantage of prior by Islam and Damir Ismagulov. Thiago consistently steps backward linearly when pressured, eventually ending up against the cage. Let's see some sequences of Beneil attacking this tendency with superior cage-side grappling. We start our sequential breakdown in the first round. Beneil is occupying a standard top full guard. Thiago is in bottom open full. Thiago clamps down on Beneil's right arm, rotates underneath to set up a near-complete belly-down armbar. Beneil uses the momentum from the rotation to pull his arm out of immediate danger. But rather than use the opportunity for a stand-up, Beneil jumps onto Thiago's back and grabs a body lock. If we think of the situation as sort of a math equation, Beneil essentially trades in top guard for a back-take body lock. Pretty good investment. Especially when you consider that he was able to weigh on Thiago for nearly an entire minute more, steadily sapping his energy by weighing on small muscle groups. An important concept to note though, notice how he is getting Thiago to the ground. Therein lies the foundational flaw in Dariush's wrestling. Dariush is certainly able to complete takedowns, but he is substandard in his takedown offense as a whole. Importantly, he lacks the athleticism to consistently finish technically unsound, open cage takedowns. A fighter like Khabib is able to use his athleticism to cover for the occasional technical mishap. Beneil is not similarly blessed athletically. The best example of this is his knockout loss to Edson Barbosa. While Edson Barbosa isn't Michael Johnson in his anti-wrestling talent, he more than makes up for it in strike speed. The major issue I identify as the reason Edson was able to successfully time Dariush's entry is how heavy Dariush is on his front foot. The easiest way to see what I mean is to watch footage at a high rate of speed. What you will consistently notice is that Dariush lacks a lot of lateral movement when pressuring. He takes incredibly linear angles. Without breakneck speed on his takedown entry, it is relatively easy to know where he is going. Just a matter of predicting where the takedown will occur behind the jab entry, which is exactly what Barbosa does here. Barbosa has been tracking this linearity all fight while blocking earlier takedowns. He knows Dariush wants to shoot behind a jab, so he simply reads the jab, flying knee up the middle. So while Dariush's wrestling is superior, his takedown offense is subpar. Now it's time to dive into his jiu-jitsu. The fighter that most comes to mind when describing Beneil's superior jiu-jitsu versus wrestlers is his most recent contest versus Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot is a talented takedown artist that comes from the Merab school of volume takedowns at the expense of consistent control time and damage. One of my critiques of Gamrot at the time was his jiu-jitsu abilities. I hadn't seen him demonstrate similar ability in this area when compared to his takedown offense. So, let's analyze some moments from this fight. One of the consistent tactics Dariush leverages in this fight is rolling for leg attacks. The most successful ones come as a means of fighting off the body lock Mateusz grabs a hold of. Gamrot's game plan was largely based upon securing volume takedowns and landing consistent ground damage. It would seem counterintuitive for Dariush to attack the strategy with rolling leg attacks because of how open they leave you to strikes. But when he pairs the leg attacks with great flow wrestling, it becomes too much for Gamrot to win against. If you have seen my prior video on Beneil, you know what is coming next. Beneil's fatal flaw as a fighter comes in the form of one of the biggest blind spots in modern MMA grappling: back exposure. Notice how in all of the sequences I showed before, while he is technically beating Mateusz, he is still demonstrating substantial back exposure, open to any with the talent to attack it. Gamrot was presented multiple opportunities in this regard, but he's not the type of fighter whose skill set is built to attack these opportunities. But there is another, Michael Chiesa. So what is it exactly that Chiesa did there? We first see Chiesa use his body lock against the fence to throw Dariush to the floor. Dariush falls into bottom half and executes a standard bottom half getup. While some fighters would try to reject the exit, Chiesa rides it out. Dariush gives his back in order to fight Chiesa's hands on the body lock so he can complete the getup. Here is where Gamrot missed. Chiesa uses his planted left leg for leverage, swings his right leg over Dariush's back, right into back mount. Dariush is now carrying all of Chiesa's weight. Beneil inches his lower body backwards, but that just puts more pressure on his posted arms. Chiesa attacks those posts right into a rear naked choke. Dariush is able to fight it off for 40-ish seconds, but succumbs to the Poirier-style tripod rear naked choke finish. So, while Dariush is able to leverage his superior jiu-jitsu skills in these situations, a fighter with Chiesa-like ability to transition off the body lock into hooks and back takes can absolutely submit Dariush if given the opportunity. Now, the Chiesa fight was years before Gamrot, and he still shows the same hole, so I doubt it is ever rectified. Going forward, any fighter capable of smoothly transitioning from the body lock to the back take will have a distinct advantage over Dariush. So let's close this out, shall we? Dariush represents to me the comeback of traditionally jiu-jitsu-centric fighters. While some seem to have faith that Kron Gracie would be the one to dust off the jiu-jitsu throne, I would argue that Dariush is the stronger claimant in modern MMA. Jiu-jitsu was most effective when fighters didn't know how to effectively counter it. As jiu-jitsu knowledge became more mainstream, systems like Danaher's, Bravo's, and other like-minded individuals have come and gone as adaptations to those adaptations occurred. Dariush, while not a sexy example, is truthfully the next stage in the evolution of jiu-jitsu and MMA. The way that Dariush moves between multiple grappling disciplines to throw different looks at specialized opponents is what truly differentiates him. It's not his specific dominance in one area that makes Dariush's offense so potent, it's all of them harmoniously synergized. I started with that quote for a reason. Dariush's grappling is incredibly yielding and highly reactive. He doesn't blow you away by hitting a move with incredible dexterity like Oliveira, or overpowers with lightning speed like Khabib. Dariush, like his personality, effortlessly glides from position to position, sequence by sequence, letting the fight unfold in front of him. Dariush's yielding style allows him to overcome grapplers that rate traditionally superior in their individual fields like Ferguson's guard or Gamrot's takedown offense. Can that take him all the way to the title? Only time will tell. If you are watching this video live or before UFC 289, I have linked to my full Patreon fight breakdown in the description below.
Your child can visit steamy jungles, grassy plains, and the dark depths of the oceans to meet and learn surprising facts about the magnificent animals that live there, all through the